Tell It Right podcast.
All right, welcome to episode 90 of Tell It Right. I am Mike, and this is the podcast that never quits. Welcome. First off, everybody, I'm done setting expectations on when it comes to posting this. I realize I'm just quite terrible at setting expectations, and so, yeah, I never post on time. I never post on the days I say I'm going to post. So, for whatever. So, with that said, I'm sorry, but there's no excuse here. Hit that subscribe button because here's the thing. We are the podcast that never quits. We're always going to put out a podcast eventually. So you want to hit that subscribe button so when the show does come out, you will get the notification. And you will get to see this shit show mess. So, but yeah, every time I post, you'll get a notification as long as you're followed and subscribed. So first time listeners, hit that subscribe button. You long time listeners, thank you again. I appreciate your support, and it's going to pay off here because with all that said, another reason why it's very, very, very important to follow. Okay, so the reason is because there is going to be more on the horizon here. We are working on other content, and I am really excited about it. Got a team together. So obviously it's me and Jared. But then we got two others. I'm not going to reveal them quite yet because there's still a lot of work that needs to be done, a lot of planning here. But yeah, I mean, just so you all know, Tell It Right was always just a phase of a broader dream. Looking back, maybe we shouldn't have started with Tell It Right podcast, but it turned out that was kind of like the easiest thing to start with. Because we have so many ideas. It was just Tell It Right it seemed like the easiest, the path of least resistance, we'll say, to kind of get our feet wet out there. But, I mean, also looking back, I don't regret what we did. I'm just saying maybe we should have focused on some other things. But no, we are here. This is how it is. Tell It Right's not going anywhere, but more is coming. And so let me get more into that. So originally the dream was to create a platform that would have multiple types of content, like short videos, skits, podcasts, documentaries, cartoon animation, possibly film, and definitely writing. Now, writing could be broken up into many different things: blogs, writing skits, whatever, or writing short stories, etc. It could be a lot of different things, but like that was kind of like the original thought, and this would span from comedy all the way to education. So, I mean, we'd have a lot of comedy stuff, but we'd have things that would be educational too, you know. So yeah, that was kind of the idea. And so I guess with Tell It Right, how we started it was, I mean, we wanted something that we could kind of like get into the TV and film industry, break down movies and TV shows, get down to the core of what they're about, try to understand what those directors and writers were trying to convey, and then really just voice our opinions about how we felt about everything. And we've definitely done that when it comes to Tell It Right. Obviously, there's things that need to be worked on, but I mean, for the most part, I mean, that's what we sought out to do. That's what we do, and that's what we're sticking to. So, but yeah, I mean, again, Tell It Right isn't the future, though. You know what I mean. So, I mean, like, Tell It Right was never thought of as the thing that's going to carry anything. It was just phase one, and so coming in the future, we will announce a new channel. And this is going to be the new home for Tell It Right. So we'll probably get rid of TellItRightPodcast.com. We'll have a new website for the future channel here. And then obviously we'll have I think we'll keep Tell It Right podcast its own YouTube channel. I think that makes sense. But we'll have it all tied in with the new umbrella, as we'll call it. But yeah, so yeah, Tell It Right will have a new home, but it'll also be home to our new content that we'll be getting in there, like skits, fake radio ads, and a lot more. So once this is all revealed, this is where your support is going to be needed greatly, and that's why you should be following and subscribe, because once we do announce this, you're going to get the first peek at that, and then we're going to rely on you to get this word out. So I mean, your support at minimum is what's going to allow us to grow and evolve. I'm not asking for money, I'm asking for support. That's all we need. Get the word out, we'll grow, everything will work itself out. So yeah, make sure you're subscribed to Tell It Right on YouTube or whatever podcast platform you're listening to, because like I said, you're going to get the first peek at this. And man, I am freaking excited. So I hope you are too. Hit that follow button. So, all right, let's see where we're at here. So I don't have much today, guys. Like I said, I'm bad at setting expectations. So I originally was planning on talking about Rick and Morty, but man, there's too much going on right now to getting into that, because so today is Sunday, January 19th. And that means today TikTok is supposed to be banned. So let's start from the beginning here. So what was it? A few months ago, lawmakers all got together. They arguing that TikTok's a national security threat, right? So so they all voted unanimous, or like this is like the first bipartisan vote in history where everybody came together and they all pretty much voted in favor of banning this entertainment app. Now, Tell It Right podcast has been on TikTok since 2021. We've been posting our clips of our shows on there, and other weird stuff I've thought of, and cutting different TV shows to make different weird clips and whatnot. So we've been on there. It's done all right. We've gotten quite a few views, but nothing ever crazy viral. Nothing that ever brought in like financial shit like money or whatnot. Honestly, we recently just went live, literally end of November, beginning of December, and I mean, I was even looking at it. We haven't even met their technical criteria, and I'm just like wondering if they just see our attempts and they're just like, yeah, we're gonna let them go live, try to help them out here. So, we've gone live a few times. It's weird. It's definitely something you got to work at. This already, doing a podcast by yourself in your office is weird. All right, you're talking to a camera. I'm looking at a little mini camera right now, but it's you guys. In my head, I have to think I'm talking to an audience here. And with TikTok Live, you do have that audience, but like it's weird because you really do need that feedback. I guess what's weird about it is somebody pops in, so you put in your head like you're just gonna display something, and when people pop in, whatever. But like you kind of have to give them your attention, because if you don't, you'll lose them. So it's a weird thing, but people use it and they make a lot of money off of it. I mean, all kinds of ways, and it's just crazy. People, be sitting around drinking. They'll be like drinking. They'll like build a bar in their house for like this, and they go live and they just drink and hey, send me a galaxy and I'll take like 10 shots or some shit. Not like that, or they'll take a shot or something. But like, it's something as simple as that. But then like people do battles, and then like they really like it's just like you create this community that supports you, and these people follow your life. It's wild, and I'm not like opposed to it. There's a lot of goofy things with it, and I'm still just sometimes trying to wrap my head around a lot of how the live works. The best I can explain it is it's TikTok lives are like the modern street performer in this digital format. Instead of having to go to a city where, every few blocks you walk, there's a different street performer. It's literally all on your phone, and you swipe through it. And if you like someone, you hang around, and if you really like them, you'll start sending them gifts. It's crazy. And like I said, it's just like it could just be people sitting there talking about their life, and people just send money. It could be people dancing because you send a certain gift. So the idea is you're going to send this big gift, and they're going to do some crazy embarrassing dance, or they're going to embarrass themselves because you paid a lot of money to do it. So it's pretty wild. But then on top of it, people do utilize it to get their business out, and 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 that brings them a lot of money, and they can also sell things through their marketplace. So to ban it is really destroying an economy, because yeah, I mean, a lot of these people, I mean, they're making money, and then they're putting it into our own economy as well. If we take it away, all of a sudden there's a lot of jobless people not not putting back into the economy. So I thought it was a pretty bold move, and they're they keep saying it's a national security threat. They think China has their hands in it, and they're using it to persuade Americans one way or another. And I don't think that's true, because with TikTok, I mean, in my life, this is the first time that I've been able to keep up with government. Which is wild. All the lives on every time there's a congressional hearing, every time there's a vote in either the Senate or the House, like, because of TikTok, I'm able to catch that stuff where normally I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have looked it up on YouTube. It just showed up in my feed. So I mean, if China wants me to be more involved in my government, I mean, I don't think that's a bad thing at all. But and that's what I feel like has happened with TikTok, has allowed me to get more involved with my government. Now, put aside the crazy conspiracy theory bullshit that people put out. I'm talking about when there's a TikTok live, when it's a presidential hearing, and or like for instance, when like the president's spokesperson, is going over the president's agenda and stuff. Like, I catch that stuff now because of TikTok, where I didn't catch that on the news because I didn't make time to watch the news. So, in my opinion, I started learning more about my government because I was actually watching my representatives talk. you know. So, I can't sit here and say like TikTok's been making me want to be this, wanting communism or anything, and that's definitely not the case. So, um, so yeah, there's that. So they all voted. They voted to ban it, and that's what the craziest thing was last night on the 18th. So I'm on Central Time, and I shit you not, it was like 10:30, and I hear my wife yell out, "TikTok's been shut down." And I'm like, "What? It's not even midnight on the East Coast." I'm like, "How the hell is this possible?" And I checked the app, and sure enough, it's shut down. So it was last night was a crazy feeling, and into this morning, it was just like, it's done. What do we do? What do I do now? You know? And I didn't really just jump to like YouTube or any other app, and actually I haven't really been on a Meta app since last night. Just Messenger. All the other ones I've kind of just, I don't even want to touch it because that's kind of where where I feel. I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist here, but I mean, like, the writing on the wall for me is there's not really a national security threat as much as there's greedy American billionaires that realize this app is way more valuable than theirs. And so that's kind of what I think played out, because I think when Congress was um, and all of them are doing the hearing with the TikTok CEO. They were asking him like pretty bluntly, like, is China, does China own your servers? Does China run your servers? Do they have access to your servers and all this? And this guy is like saying no. All right, but then like he's also kind of like saying it in a way where it's like he doesn't want to straight out say it, but like no, he wants to say like no more than any other country is in there, meaning like spies and stuff. So he's basically trying to say like no more than the United States is, or England or Canada or Russia or whoever. Like we do everything we can to protect everybody's data, and we're not like in cahoots with the Chinese People's Republic and all that crap. That's what I got out of it. However, Congress and lawmakers got out of it. Oh no, you guys are in bed together and just literally passing files to each other. Uh, so yeah, no, I mean, I really see it as like this whole Hollywood blacklist. Back in the Red Scare. Ooh, everyone's a communist. We got to throw them in jail, or we got to sell them out, and that's all that was people selling out other people in probably the hopes of, you know, taking out a more popular actor, so you got the role, and so you can make the shot and try to, become the popular actor. That's what was happening back then, and that's why that was kind of in the news, and Hollywood was just used as a scapegoat because it was a thing of influence, right? People people love. I mean, Hollywood was so huge back when the Red Scare shit happened, so that was the social media at the time. That's where people were influenced for sure. I mean, that's where they got their entertainment, their news, and so yeah, it was. I think with that, it was just a bunch of people that were on the low and wanted to get the high, so they started calling other people communists. And then like another thing was like Howard Hughes was a big advocate of this, of calling people communists and ruining their lives. And Howard Hughes was a fucked up person. I mean, he bought RKO Studios, I believe, just just to mess with one of his ex girlfriends, and then he, making movies all these years, and the Red Scare comes. I think he started calling people communists to take over Sedona, and then the film industry in Sedona. Oh yeah, I'm wearing the Sedona shirt right now. But the film industry in Sedona fucking, um, dried up. Yeah, I don't know. That's what I'm getting at. Like, I don't think this TikTok ban has anything to do with Chinese communism. I think it has everything to do with greedy billionaires realizing that this app is putting so much money in Americans' pockets. And like, so, here's an example of a TikToker that I was listening to. He's this guy, Michael Lasky. He played in the movie Three Ninjas. He was a kid at the time. He played the character Cole, but he's been in martial arts his whole life, competing, but also doing like he was a Red Power Ranger. I don't think he was an actual like actor Power Ranger, but he was the guy in the suit doing all the fight moves and stuff, which is pretty dope. Also a Tusken Raider. But yeah, no, I mean he's just a small business owner, owns a martial arts gym, and uses TikTok as a way to get his business out there, and like his image, his brand. So he was talking about how like he uses all sorts of social media apps, not just TikTok, but like he used Instagram as an example, and how Instagram never pays. They don't pay content creators. Now back, he said there was a time that they tried something for a few years, where they were creating like a pool for content creators, and people would get paid out, but it wasn't that great, and it didn't last. And kind of how he put it is the day that it got taken away was kind of right around the same time that this whole China is influencing TikTok, we need to get rid of TikTok. So in other words, it's like, why pay the content creators when we could just get rid of the app that's taking everybody away from us? That's how I feel. with this whole thing. So, yeah, I don't know. And there's other people out there if you do your research. I don't really want to quote it. I'm just going to kind of speculate over it, but like, kind of saying stuff like a lot of the people that voted in Congress and the Senate to vote against this have investments in Meta. So I don't know, man. It's just it's all crooked shit. But here's the craziest thing though. So last night on the 18th, 10:30 Central Time, app goes dead. So you can open it up, and now I was under the impression it'd still be functional, but you just wouldn't be able to get updates, and they would just take it out of the app store, but you would still be able to use it. But they actually freaking shut down everything because they weren't, you know, TikTok's not messing around either. That's the thing. They're like, you know what, you're gonna ban us, then bam. So that went offline. Whatever. It was a long night. And then this morning, I check it. It's still offline, and it's like 10:30 Central Time. Then again, at noon, my wife yells out, TikTok's back online. And I open it, and sure as shit, there it was. Now, just to backtrack a little bit before that, my wife was saying, is there a way we can, like, she's like, when I went to China, there was a way I could still access, like, American apps, but there was something I had to do. But like, so shouldn't there be a way we should be able to do the same thing with TikTok here? And I'm like, oh my god, you're a genius. So I I download a Tor browser because it's like the only free version of a VPN I know of. I'm not buying a VPN. Fuck that. Download a Tor browser. So I download the Tor browser. It's called the Onion browser. That's why it's called Tor. The Onion browser. Tor. Or I forget what the R is. It has something to do with like whatever, dude. It's dark web shit. So download the Tor browser, and then I type in TikTok. I go to the website. So I try to type in my credentials, and it just kept loading. It wouldn't go in. So I'm like, oh fuck, this isn't really gonna work. But then I just go to the regular page without signing in. I was just flipping through to see if I could just see stuff. And sure enough, what started happening was it just started saying, like, it just kept asking me to open it in the app. It didn't want to do it in the web browser. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But I think it was taking my IP address through, like, Sweden or some shit. So it shouldn't have been banned, in other words. But anyways, it really wasn't working. So I'm like, oh, the Tor browser ain't going to work. So... yeah, and then 12 o'clock comes around, and my wife's just like, it's back, it's back. So crazy, just like within a 14-hour time span, it shuts down and comes back. And like the articles that are kind of popping out right now, because it's actually like 1 o'clock right now. So it's not even that far since TikTok's been online for like an hour and a half now again. But the articles that are coming out are basically saying that because of President-elect Donald Trump swearing to sign an executive order tomorrow to extend this, that they've turned it back online. So people, I don't know what the hell is going to happen with it, but just know Tell It Right's always on YouTube. I mean, we're not going anywhere, and I don't think YouTube's going anywhere because that'd be really fucked if they get rid of YouTube. But anyways, you never know. You never know in this country. But no, I'm glad it's back because, like I said, it never really did much for Tell It Right. But what it did do for us is it gave us content ideas of things to talk about. And yeah, I mean, actually, it's how I also find a lot of the movies we've talked about too. Because I'll be flipping and somebody posts one of these older movies, classics, and I'm like, dude, this movie's so badass. And I'm only seeing a 10-second clip. And I go and I find it and I watch it, and sure shit, we'll talk about it, So, yeah, I mean, I love TikTok because it allows me to find different ideas for content creation, and, and hopefully it sticks around and it's going to help out with, the new expansion, what what Tell It Right's gonna move into and all that good stuff. So we'll see. But I mean, I think it's dumb. I think it's just to please the billionaires, and and we're America, guys. We gotta fight the billionaires. We gotta fight the oligarchy and the monarchies and all the garchies out there. We gotta fight. And you know what? Movies, content, all this stuff, this freedom of speech, that fights that crap. So just keep doing what you're doing, people. Love each other. Don't fight. Make fun of the government. Make fun of them so they just go, you're right. We got to change. You're right. We got to change. We got to fucking do it. So, but yeah, guys, I think that's all I got here for today. We're at about 25 minutes, not too long, not an hour. So you got a little bit more of your day ahead of you, but just remember, this is the podcast that doesn't quit. We're not going anywhere. But, I'm just terrible at posting these episodes. So I want to get Jared back. I want to talk more about aliens in the future, man. I just saw Romulus, and that was a pretty fucking wild movie. And that whole Alien franchise it's very fascinating once you start getting into it. Like, if you listen to some of the past podcasts, Jared's always brought up the movie. I'm just kind of like, yeah, whatever, and kind of thought it was dumb. I didn't really think it was dumb. I just knew I never really saw it, but it was such a big part of the pop culture growing up in the 90s. So it's kind of strange that I never saw it. But I've never really been into horror movies. I love sci-fi, just not really sci-fi horror or horror movies in general. But I think I give it more of a shot because it is sci-fi horror, and I like sci-fi. But yeah, like the whole Weyland-Yutani Corporation and just like the mysteriousness behind that and like its motives. Like, what is its motives? What's it trying to do? Why does it keep putting itself in this situation with this fucking beast that just spits out acid? It's crazy. And but like that's what Tell It Right is about, is trying to figure out that core understanding and like what was influencing this writing. Like, why is it like this? And it's not because somebody sat there and was like, oh, this would be cool. There's things in their lives that influence what came out, and I'd love to just get to the heart of that. But yeah, so hopefully in the future, I'm not going to promise that's going to be the next episode, but if you follow, I'll make sure that notification says Aliens franchise or something that tells you that we're talking about aliens. So I'm talking about the movie, people, not the fucking things that fly around in outer space and are in the Congress and what I talked about last episode, the movie. So we'll get more into that hopefully, but yeah, thanks again. Appreciate the support. Hit that follow button. Share this with everybody, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Tell It Right Podcast.